At this time, let me ask Mr. Beach to come on up here and join Ms. Griffin and Mr. Duckworth. Now I'm going to turn the questioning over to the audience. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll come over and give you the mic so you can ask your question. Again, I would ask you to ask a question. Do not render an opinion or make a statement. Please make it a question. All right. Anybody have a question? Miss Alvia?
I know the question has been raised that, Linda, you've been on the board for a long time. So what do you think you have to offer having been there a long time? And then, Mr. Duckworth, what do you think of the benefit of you being brand new to the school district have to offer?
Thank you for that question. What you will soon understand, or if you're not basically aware, education, public education is a big deal. There are so many pieces and there are so many different complexities in public education. 20 years may seem like a long time, but it's not, because every 2 years we start over. Whether we start over from a new accountability system, or we start over from teacher evaluation, or we start over from not having money for this or that. So every 2 years you're changing. What can I continue to do? I can continue to advocate like I have been doing before. That is not something that you learn overnight and you step right into. What can I do and continue to do? There are relationships that have been built. What can I continue to do with plans that are on the table where I have participated in the research and know the impact for our students? We need to stay there. We don't have time to change courses right now because our children's future is at stake. So what I say to you is look at my advocacy, look at my accessibility, and look at my availability. But more than that, look at my knowledge in terms of what I have been able to bring to the table for these Tri-Cities of Garland, Rowlett, and Saxe. That doesn't change if you are an active school board member and willing to spend the time to actually learn what your job is. It is not an overnight success. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I offer a new look, a new representation on the board. I talked about history. There's some things historical that I'm very interested in. We had the 84 bond, the 14 bond issue. There were some issues there about one of our programs, the facility for that program being left out of the bond program. I still don't know why. Hopefully I can find that out someday. I've been a member of this community, as I said a while ago, since 1962. I know most people in all three cities in management position. I think I'm hitting the ground running, knowing people. It's public services. This is not, because I haven't served in a position on a board or city council doesn't mean I haven't served our community. There are numerous things I've done in this community. Like last year, I was named the committee chairman of the year by the FFA group. Hope Clinic, I was part of that founding group, as well as, and I'm here for all the kids, we have programs that y'all probably don't know about this. I went to a training session the other day for potty talk. We have 2 people in our school district that actually go into homes and help moms and dads who can't train their children to potty. They actually go in the home and help those kids do that. So our district reaches, places that you never even thought about. We're turning out some kids that when they graduate from school have an associate's degree. So our district is a wonderful district. I just want to be a part of it, and I want to be a part of the future of it. Because if the next bond program comes up, I want to make sure that that group that was left out is included in this bond program. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask a favor of the audience. Please make sure you identify who the question is directed to, either all three of them or Mr. Duckworth and Ms. Linda. I got a question over here.
It was mentioned that Garland ISD only gets to keep 38% of the local tax dollars that local taxpayers make. House Bill 3 has passed the House, go to conference, but if it passes out of the Senate and the governor signs it, is there a projection of what that will do to be able to keep local tax dollars in this ISD? And will it afford the trustees the ability to lower the tax rate with the additional state funding coming in? And I'll ask all three of them their opinion, if it's okay.
I'm Johnny Beach in place 2, and very good question. What the state is doing to us, it's going to drop us from $1.04 to $1 is what they're trying to cap us right now in GISD. What that will do to us, it will, there are other stipulations that are coming out of the bill where we will get funding, and that will come from our ESL, ELL, other dyslexia, other areas in which we are special ed. There are going to be provisions in the new House bills that we will receive some type of funding from those resources, or for having those type of children in our school district. So that will be some things that will help us to recap or regroup a little bit as far as the funding is concerned, and that's one reason. The tax rate, yes, will hurt being dropped, not as much as it's going to hurt the city, but it's still, the cap is something good because it's going to help the homeowners as far as the amount that you're going to be paying in your taxes. And I hope that answers some of your questions that you're wanting to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Beach. And I think I heard a 3-part question. So let me start with the things that I think are easy to answer first. Will it lower the tax rate? Yes, if that passes. Will we be able, as trustees, to keep more money? No. What is the design of the bill? The bill is dealing with the finance formula, better known as Robin Hood. So basically, that same 38%, next year when it's time for you to pay your taxes, we would have only still kept 38%. What the goal of House Bill 3 is to redesign the financial formula so that there's more equity among all of the school districts. And we're not the only one getting 38%. That is 38% across the state. So although they're saying it and selling it as one thing, are we going to get more money to control? No, what we're worried about is the drop from the 104 with the tax rate to the dollar. Are they going to make up that difference and hold us harmless? So if they don't do that, see, that's buried in the details. Then we're starting off our next school year already with a deficit. So it's not basically to help us out as a local board or any local board. It's a way to bring equity to the finance formula across the state, and the rich districts known as 41s would stop sending billions and millions of dollars back to the state.
Thank you, Mr. Riggs. You kind of caught me on the short end of the stick here because I haven't been getting daily reports like these people are getting from the Garland from their legal department and advisors. I hope the tax rate is either level or goes down. I mean, the public is screaming about taxes continuing to go up, and I told you a while ago how you can control that if you want to. The problem with a lot of these programs that the state and the federal government do is they give you, it's like the teachers deal. I'm going to use a simple, we heard all start out here in the 5,000 raise for all teachers. You know, they do that, but they only fund it for a year or 2 years. The third year, boy, you're talking about a hard place to rent a race. And I don't like to see those kind of things because it's kind of like getting hooked on ice cream. You know, if you run out, you're in trouble. And why they do that, I don't know. But there's a lot of programs, as we've all mentioned, there's a lot of new programs in the system that need to be funded, and hopefully, if they cut that funding, they'll fund those special programs and make up the difference that they've taken away. That would be my prayer for the district if that happens.
Thanks, sir. Any more questions in the audience? Okay, over here. Yeah, please specify who the person directed it.
Well, this could be, any of y'all. This is more of an education question to me. You have like GISD, DISD, et cetera. Where is the autonomy in the word independent?
Let's go first.
As school board members across the state, we ask the same question because they control what we get to keep of your tax dollars. They also give us mandates of how we are to send money and how we are to spend it. So during the advocacy process, one of the things that we do as school board members that's in the advocacy network, we always tell them, and we have this two-word slogan, local control. But the state thinks that local control comes by them mandating, dictating, and then we follow what they say, and then that's local control. Our hands are tied.
I agree with what Mrs. Griffin just said. As being a new school board member, basically going into my third year in the second term, the challenges that we face in GISD is just like what Rose gave earlier about what we're going to do about losing students and that type of thing. We count on ADA, which is the average daily attendance, for our income from the state, and that's what we get for each student. This next year, if things go as planned through the House bill, we will get an additional about $400 and something per student added to our ADA from where we are currently. That helps tremendously, but it still doesn't get us to the point where we need to be when we're adding new programs. But that is one reason that we are adding new programs, with, for example, the CT Center and those type of things, to draw attention. Because if you can drive around Garland, which is 56 square miles, when I served on the city council, I took a tour of that, and you look at every corner of the Garland Independent School District, there's either a private school or a charter school there. And even some churches now are even opening up, and they're taking students. And when they take those students, and those students go in there and then they misbehave, guess who gets them? We do. They come to us. They've already paid the fees and everything else, but then they want us to get them and take care of them. And we do. And we will continue to do that because every child is important. I don't care who you are, what you are. Every child deserves a good education. And we're trying to give the best that we possibly can with shoestring dollars that we get from it. Garland Independent School District is big business. And I'll encourage any of you, if you'd like to go by and look at our computer systems that we have at the Marvin Paget Center, this Fortune 500 companies don't even have what we have trying to run a school district. It's massive. Transportation. You think of all the pockets that are out there that we're trying to meet, free lunches, you name it. We're trying to do things to help the kids in GISD. But now that we have partnered with the Dallas Community College District, every senior in this district can get a free education to a junior college if they want it. So we're doing what we can. I'm excited about that, and I'm glad to be on board with the team that we have. I'm the vice president this year. It has been a real pleasure and a privilege.
I think, as they've said, independence, kind of an oxymoron word maybe, but we all know how we control our state legislature, and that's who we put down there to pass laws and regulations for us. We have to we all deal with that from the federal, state, local government. And so who we put in office, we've got council people here, that's going to affect us on the city side. You're going to be voting for school board members, that's going to affect you on the school side. The fact that as citizens you pay more than 50% of your taxes goes to school tax. Now, what they've talked about, the numbers, where that goes to the state, and they give it back as at their discretion, however they figure it out. But the control, where we control what goes on in our lives, is who we send to Austin to make those decisions.
Okay, thank you all. It's time to have our closing comments, and we'll start with Mr. Beach.
Mr. Torres, thank you again for inviting me to this function tonight, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Folks, GISD, like I said before, is a big family, and you're part of it, and your children are part of it. We want to continue to go on the path that we're on right now and the direction that we've taken this district. We have a new leader in Dr. Lopez, who is listening to the community. He has taken the challenge on. He has developed a great staff with him. We have a great staff of teachers, and that's where the rubber meets the road, in that classroom. Okay, we are trying to help bridge the gap of communication between the different communities of Hispanic, African American, whatever the case may be. We're trying to narrow that gap so that we can all communicate and be transparent with one another. It's very important that you guys be the eyes and the ears for us. That sometimes we can't be in all places at all times, and we need your help and support. And just like was said by Mr. Duckworth, the state, we need folks in Austin that are fighting for GISD. And that's a very, very tough situation. We beg and we plead down there. Sometimes we fall on deaf ears. So anyway, thank you again for this opportunity, and I appreciate your support for me on the school board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the community, for allowing me to serve as your trustee. As we develop new pathways for young kids and students, we're on a mission. We're to educate from pre-K to graduation. And what I say to you is, let me continue to be your trustee with the vision, who's prepared, who's trained, who's ready to serve. I don't have any delays. I believe in all children, and all means all 56,000. I ask you to vote for me. Early voting begins on April 22nd, ends on April 30th. Election day is May 4th. Garland, Rowlett, and Saxe, the Tri-Cities, it is my home. I have been here longer than 40 years, and my involvement with children extends further than just the classroom and the school. I am Linda Griffin. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Tony and GAFHA, for having us here tonight, and thank you, community, for being here. As I told you a while ago, I've been an active part of this community for my entire adult life, starting in 1962. Back then, when you went to work in an industry like the banking, your boss said, get out and get involved in something. I got involved in the Lions Club, and I've been serving this community in the Lions Club alone, just that one serving, my entire adult life. We had to disband our club last year because, as it is now, the clubs are it's very hard to survive. People just don't have time and won't become involved in that. I've been a church member, FFA program, Hope Clinic, Salvation Army. I ran a 5-year Main Street program in downtown Garland while I earned a living for my family. We did a lot of things to keep the downtown area alive and from going further down than it was. I will serve all three communities to the best of my ability, and I want to be a trustee that, many of us, we have a challenge. Sometimes the system doesn't cover you, so you need somebody you can call and talk to help you guide you through that mire. I want to be that person. If you'll vote for me, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I want to thank all the GISD candidates up here. How about a round of applause for them?